In this video we're going to be using tubes to connect the orthodontic bands on the one side and the expansion screw and to the other side. Now once a component, the expansion screw, has been imported, we need to make sure that we only move this according to the blender coordinates. By using the transformation on the left hand side, we can move it by using the arrows, or using GX or GY or GZ. This is important that users don't rotate it in any different direction, because we need to ensure that the tube gets extruded along the X direction so that it fits exactly into this wedge. So moving the component where it should be located, we will then hide the passive model away from the view, as we don't need to see it at this stage. Then, double checking that the component is correct, we're going to then open up the tubes. The expansion screw needs to be placed a little bit closer towards a pallet, and then shift right click to place the cursor. Then draw tubes. This places a sphere on the inside of the wedge, and now by using E to extrude and X in the X direction. At this stage we need to make sure that the snapping tool is not engaged, and then using E and the X, it will extrude parallel to our component. Selecting the other side, G to grab, X in the X direction, G to grab and X in the X direction. Now this may be a little bit large, we need to downscale it, and one can see that the subdivisions have been marked. So to unmark them, toggle the tab key, tab in and tab out, and that will disappear. A to select all the vertices, and then Control A to make it smaller. Alt B to make a cross section, and we're going to view it from the side. Now we are still in edit mode and we have selected all of them. A, make sure that they're selected, and then using GY in the Y direction, and then maybe a little bit smaller, Control A, and then placing it correct. We are then going to duplicate these two vertices by using Shift D to duplicate, and then using GY to move it into the Y direction, and GY to make sure it's placed correctly. Now we can use Alt B to exit. Next we're going to select our object, tab to go into edit mode, and we're going to be selecting both vertices on either side, and then E to extrude and X into the X direction. This is important so that our tubes don't bend when we move them upwards. Then select one vertex, make sure that the snapping is on the magnet tool, because we're going to snap it to our band. And the same, E to extrude, and then move it up to the band. Here we can see we haven't extruded it, so we need to be careful to select both, E to extrude in the X direction, and then selecting one of the vertices and then making sure the snapping tool is on, E, and then move it up and snap it onto the band. We can reinforce these wires by selecting 4 of them and then clicking on the plus sign and then selecting 2 of them and using the F key to fuse them. And likewise we can do the same on the other side. And fuse them. Once we are done, we can display the wire If you like, you can expand the vertices by selecting it and Control A to make them thicker or thinner. Once that's done, we will exit edit mode and then remesh tube. At this stage we may still edit the tubes by tab going into edit mode, then selecting one of these vertices, making sure the proportional editing is on, use the G key, and then we may grab and manipulate the mesh as desired. Thank you for watching. If there's any queries, please feel free to contact me. Goodbye.